All right, today I'm going to talk about a poem by Shakespeare. And you might not know who William Shakespeare is. That's okay. I'll tell you the poem, but first I got to tell you why I want to tell you today. I heard the story the other day, the poem the other day, and it reminded me of two students I knew a long, long time ago. They were in grade 6 at the time, and let's call them, just for privacy reasons, let's call them Amy and Rebecca. Okay. So I'm out on duty, and you're out there with proudly wearing your sash and looking around for trouble, and I see these two grade 6 girls crying. I mean, big, big tears rolling down their cheeks. And I think, well, this is a problem. So I go talk to them. And the first one, let's say Amy, I said, what's wrong? And finally I understand the story. It is that there's a dance coming, the dance at the school. And she likes a boy in her class. So she decided she's going to ask that boy to go to the dance with her. So he went up, and she went up, and you really have to gather that courage and say, okay, here we go. And she does it, and his response was, ew, no. Now, he didn't mean ew, no. What he meant was, I'm not ready for dancing and girls and stuff like that. Because the truth was, he liked to go home every day and play with his Tonka trucks in his sandbox. He wasn't ready for dating and girlfriend and dance, and he wasn't ready for any of that. But instead of saying that very honestly, is actually I don't like to dance, and I like to play with my trucks in the sandbox. He didn't say that. Instead he said, ew, no, which made her think that what he's saying is, you're gross, and who would want to dance with you? That's why her heart was broken and she was crying and crying. Then I turned to Rebecca and I said, all right, what's going on? Why are you sad? And but finally I understand the problem. Her best friend was a boy. Okay, she lived next door to this guy, and every day after school they would play together, and that was her best friend in the whole world. They end up in the same class, and she thinks great, and takes her little lunchbox and goes to sit down next to him, and he says, ew, get away. And of course she doesn't understand. Her heart is broken. She's so offended, and she comes outside and cries. Well, the thing is, he was too shy to say, listen, I'm a bit of a coward, and I'm worried that all the boys in class are going to tease me and say you're my girlfriend. And if I say, no, we're just friends, they're not going to get it, and they're going to tease me, and I don't want that. I'm not brave enough to put up with that. So instead of saying that, he says, ew, go away. Her heart is broken. She's hurt, offended, insulted, and she's crying. So here's the thing. These two young ladies, I had to explain to them that, listen, boys can't always tell you what's in their heart, right? It's hard to say the exact truth. So sometimes we will say things like, your face is too wide, but secretly it means, we're in love. So sometimes boys say mean things, but that's not what's in their heart. Sometimes boys do mean things, but that's not always what's in their heart. What's in their heart is too embarrassing to them, and they're not brave enough to say it, and they're afraid you'll say, no thank you, and then they'll be the ones outside crying. So instead they say something rude. So for those girls, and any other grade 5, 6 girls out there who have been insulted or felt like their heart is broken because of something a boy in class did, well, this poem is for you. And it's written by William Shakespeare. And again, you might say, who's this Shakespeare guy? Absolutely, you may be too young to know of it. But in high school and university, you'll be studying about William Shakespeare. And you're thinking, why? This geezer's from 400 years ago. Yes, he did live 400 years ago, and that's when those plays were written. Back when I was a little kid. Anyway, those plays were so good, so beautiful, so wonderfully written that we still study them today. And we still make movies out of them today. So Othello and Macbeth and Hamlet. You don't know those ones? How about Romeo and Juliet? Yeah, there you go. So William Shakespeare wrote all those plays. And they're so great we still study them. And I saw a movie the other day, Much Ado About Nothing, and in the middle is a poem that he wrote and added into the middle of the play. And here's how it goes, and it's for Amy and Rebecca, and for anyone else who's been treated that way. And it goes like this. Oh, and I should explain, because the words are very strange. Listen, this was written 400 years ago. The language has changed. English is so different than it used to be. So There'll be things like, hey, Nonny Nonny. And you'll say, what is that? Well, that was a nonsense phrase from back then, but it meant kind of happiness and joy. And, for example, if you're alone in your room and you're like dancing and singing around because you're so happy, that's hey, Nonny Nonny. If you ask to go to the washroom and you're walking down the hall, but you end up kind of skipping and smiling and you don't care who sees you because there's so much gladness in your heart and it's just spilling out and you can't hold it in, that's hey, Nonny Nonny. So the poem basically says, so young ladies, if you're sad and you've had your heart broken by a boy, you need to know, boys can't focus on any one thing. They can't focus on you. They're over here with their Roblox. They're over here with their Minecraft. Over here with their Fortnite. They're over here with their Tonka trucks in the sandbox. They have trouble still focusing on this one. And not only that, they don't always tell you the truth because that's hard. Telling those things is much harder than saying your face is weird. Okay, so that's part of what's going on there. So that William Shakespeare knew this, and this was his poem, probably written for grade 6 girls everywhere. So it says, sigh no more, ladies, sigh no more. Men were deceivers ever, 1 foot in sea and 1 on shore, to one thing constant never. So sigh no more, but let them go, and be you blithe and bonny, converting all your sounds of woe into hey, Nonny Nonny. Sing no more ditties, sing no more of dumps so dull and heavy. The fraud of men was ever so since summer first was leafy. And sigh not so, but let them go, and be you blithe and bonny, converting all your sounds of woe into hey, Nonny Nonny. So that's Shakespeare, and it's a happy message for all the girls out there who've had their hearts broken by some boys who said something mean. Boys, do better.